Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today with a forensic audit that lays out, a deeply disturbing pattern. We're talking about a string of mysterious deaths and disappearances, all targeting top scientists at the very heart of America's advanced aerospace industry.
So, that leads to the big question, right? Why are America's top aerospace and plasma physicists just suddenly disappearing? According to the source material we're looking at today, this isn't about a run of bad luck or tragic accidents. No, it's something far more deliberate, and it's happening right in the shadows of our most secret labs.
And this is really the central claim of the whole audit. They call it a statistical impossibility. You have to understand, we're not talking about random tragedies here. What the audit shows is a cluster of events so unlikely that, according to the authors, it can only be the signature of a purge.
All right, Section 1, a statistical impossibility. So let's drill down into the when of all this, because the specific time frame is absolutely key.
Okay, so get this. Between 2024 and 2026, this very specific group of high-level scientists just starts dying or vanishing at a rate that's way, way off the charts. And the timing, that's the crucial part. This 2-year window isn't happening in a vacuum. The audit shows it lines up perfectly with a huge legislative push for transparency on UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Okay, Section 2, the roster of the damned. So who are we actually talking about here? The source material gives them a name, the engines of secrecy. These are supposedly the key players at the very center of all this.
And this is a really important point the source material makes. The targets here, they aren't just theorists sitting in an ivory tower. No, these are the hands-on engineers, the material scientists, the physicists, the people with grease on their hands working in America's most sensitive labs. We're talking places like JPL, Los Alamos, Wright-Patterson. These are the folks who actually build and test the hardware.
And when you see the data laid out like this, it's pretty stark. You've got a retired major general from Wright-Patterson, a materials director at NASA's JPL, the head of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, for crying out loud. The audit argues that when you put it all together, the pattern of who was targeted, well, it becomes pretty undeniable.
But the audit goes even deeper. It actually identifies what it calls specific elimination protocols. And look at these categories. You've got the walk into the woods protocol, sanitized extractions where people just vanish on a hike. Then there are kinetic eliminations, staged murders made to look like random violent crime. And finally, biological or psychological hits, like induced heart attacks or forced suicides. The point is, according to the source, these aren't random events, they're tactics.
Which brings us to Section 3, technology worth killing for. This is the big why, right? What kind of secret could possibly be worth this human cost? The audit points to a very specific and honestly a very radical set of technologies.
So, the secret supposedly revolves around something called the Pais Effect. This comes from a series of absolutely revolutionary patents filed by a Navy engineer, a Dr. Salvatore Pais. And what do they claim? Nothing less than the ability to engineer the fabric of reality using intense electromagnetic fields. I mean, wow.
And look, this isn't just about one little invention. It's a whole integrated system. You've got a craft that can literally reduce its own mass. It's powered by a compact fusion device, uses room temperature superconductors, and get this, it can generate its own gravitational waves. This is basically a blueprint for a completely new kind of physics, a new kind of propulsion.
And if you're thinking this sounds like pure science fiction, well, look at this. This is the really wild part. The Patent Office initially rejected these ideas, basically saying, yeah, right. But then, the Navy's own Chief Technology Officer, Dr. James Sheehy, filed a sworn declaration stating that the technology was not only possible, but, quote, operable. He swore it was real, and it worked.
But it gets even stranger. The audit claims this technology isn't just about bending metal and warping space-time. No, the source material connects all this hardware to something far more exotic, a framework for consciousness interfacing technology. The idea that the pilot's own mind can directly interface with and influence the craft's behavior.
So, Section 4, connecting the dots. Okay, so how does the audit actually connect these specific victims to this incredibly radical technology? This is where the whole argument really comes into focus.
Just look at this comparison. It's pretty incredible. You have Nuno Loureiro, the head of MIT's Plasma Center. His expertise perfectly matches the patent's need for high-energy electromagnetic fields. Monica Riza, the materials director from JPL, her exact skill set is what you'd need for reverse engineering exotic alloys. The audit argues it's a perfect one-to-one match. The very scientists being eliminated have the exact specialized skills you would need to build, test, and understand this technology.
So what's the motive? The audit's conclusion is blunt. This isn't just about keeping a lid on a secret. It's what they call a Scorched Earth Retreat, and it's timed specifically to stop these key individuals, the engines as they call them, from ever testifying before Congress as part of all this new UAP disclosure legislation.
And the logic, as the audit states it, is just brutally simple. A dead plasma physicist cannot testify before Congress. A missing materials director can't confirm the existence of off-world alloys. It's all about severing the human links, cutting the threads between these secret programs and any possibility of public disclosure.
Okay, let's get to the final part, Section 5, the price of truth. So what's the final verdict from this audit? What are the ultimate stakes in what the source calls a hot war fought in the shadows?
The final indictment is staggering. The audit concludes this is not just some cover-up of advanced human technology. No, it claims this is a lethal, active operation to protect the ultimate secret, a technology that is non-human and interfaces directly with consciousness. The goal, it alleges, is to maintain a frequency quarantine on all of humanity, to basically keep us from accessing a greater reality by murdering the very people who could expose it.
And that leaves us right here, with the final incredibly provocative question that the source material poses. A question that really just hangs over this entire deeply disturbing audit. What truth is worth this price?